Uh, Let's recap real quick, South Alabama, then we got to look ahead to New Mexico State. When you go back and you look at the film and you see so many opportunities we had during the South Alabama game, and you go back and you say, well, as a staff, you're trying to say, well, why didn't we do better offensively or defensively? Well, when you go back and you look offensively, we had some untimely penalties that really set us back, and some third and longs, first and longs, second and longs, got behind the sticks. And then, finding out that Jesse was going to play on Tuesday. Grant had tried to push through it all week because he wanted to really play. And when he didn't get any better on Tuesday at practice, he informed the trainers he was still having some symptoms, and so they decided to hold him out. Well, in comes our third team left guard, and give Jesse Freeman all the credit in the world. I thought the kid tried really hard. I thought on a lot of plays he held his own against number 78, a really good D lineman. But you could tell first game jitters, had 3 penalties that sort of set us back, but I thought the kid gave a great effort and showed that he can be a quality lineman down the road. And then in the passing game, well, I think we had four big drops, 2 on long balls where we're wide open with chances to score by guys that typically don't drop balls. I thought Brooks threw the ball really well. When you add the 270 odd yards he had, you add 4 more completions to his total, he probably had 370 because 2 are really long drops that he put right on the money. So it gets down to penalties and execution. But when we had to, we found a way to get back into the game. And then defensively, another solid performance where they get the pick 6 and put the team up. Now we got momentum. But you go back and look at some of the defensive things. The main glaring thing defensively, I thought we was in position most of the night. I thought our corners battled, made some great plays on the perimeter, but just missed tackles. We were going for a lot of strips, and you can see the strip attempts over and over. I bet we had 50 strip attempts, but we probably had almost that many missed tackles. And so obviously we want to get those strip attempts, and I'm really on the defense about trying to create turnovers. But at the end of the day, first we've got to tackle first, and then hope that those turnovers can come second. Right now, we're turning the ball over the second fewest times of any team in the conference. We're taking care of the ball. I think we're only averaging 1 a game or less. We're averaging less than 1 a game, and that's outstanding. That would probably be in the top 20 in the country. But unfortunately, defensively, we're not causing any turnovers. To put it in context, Arkansas State has turned it over twice as many times as we have, more than twice, but they're +6. Because they've caused 27 turnovers, we've caused 9. So they've turned it over twice as many times as us, and they're still +6, where we're -6. So we're taking care of the ball, not getting any balls out. But we did get the critical interception that we returned for a touchdown because Darzell Washington, had a big hit on the quarterback, forced the throw, made the ball flutter, and Savion Brown is just, the guy's going to be a really good player for the next year and a half for the Raging Cage. This guy's going to be a special player. And he continues to improve. I thought Troy McCullum played really well on the edge too, and if we'd have tackled a little bit better, we'd have been even in better shape. But some of the points that the defense gave up, I put on the offense on the late interception where he returned it down to the 10-yard line or so, 16-yard line. So if you take away that right there defensively, what we gave up, and then the defense scored 6 for the offense, pretty solid day for the defense. Kicking game. If there's a silver lining right now, the kicking game continues to be strong. Stephen Coots had another solid performance, did a great job. Our punt return team is ranked 4th, now it's moved up to 4th in the conference with a couple of big returns for Eli and Gary. So we've seen a lot of production from the punt return team, and kickoff team has just been lights out. So I've been really proud of their efforts. Right now, we're not playing as well as we would like, but when you look at the film and you see some unbelievable great efforts, what we call relentless effort, you've got a chance to be a good football team. We'll get better at some of the things that these young kids are lacking, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's tackling, whether it's throwing, catching. We'll get better at those things when you have a team that gives you great effort. And that's what they're doing every game. And you can see the way we battled back again after half. Took the lead with 6 minutes to go, and if we could have got a couple of first downs on that last drive, maybe used up most of that clock, and then even if punted away, if we'd have moved it out a little bit and made them go the distance for the game-winning score. So I thought our kids played hard. A lot of bright spots, but also some things that you can't do if you expect to win football games on the road with a short week. You can't do some of the things that we did. But nevertheless, we are, talking to our team. Every week we know what's in front of us. We know what we've got to do in order to correct things. They see these things on film, so it's not a secret to them. They see the things, and it's, that's what's so disappointing, because you can see a catch right here that would change the game. You can see if we keep our hands on a pick right here, it would change the game. So there's a lot of opportunities to do that, just not getting it done, bad timing, and just not getting a lot of breaks and not making a lot of breaks for ourselves either. But we still got what we call 3+ games left, and we control the +1 with how we play in the next 3. And we've got to get two games to be bowl eligible. But our, we want to win each one of them. But to make that happen, you got to win the first one, and that's going to be this week with an opportunity against New Mexico State, a team that, to be honest with you, right now is much improved. Chuck Martin's done a great job there. They've won 2 in a row just a couple weeks back. Got that monkey off their back, got a little momentum. They're playing much better. They've got an outstanding running back, and defensively they play hard. You can see why they're a much improved team. And so, but coming back home is going to be a huge plus. We got our last 2 out of 3 at home, and we'll play really good in Cajun Field. So our kids are really focused on this game. I'm proud of the way our kids are still continuing to prepare, because they know still we've got an opportunity, and if we finish the way we want to finish, we can still finish with 8 wins. That's what's so, it's an opportunity that we've got. So we've still got a chance to finish this season out on a huge positive note, and because for us there's a lot of football left to be played, and so this team is fighting. And I told our team we're not going to be measured on this past game. They're going to be measured on how we respond and play this game. And that's the thing I challenged them with. So with that, we'll open up and talk about either game.
Coach, we talk a little bit about Brooke. It seems like all night you guys got behind the chains. You mentioned the penalties. Later in the game, the drops. And then he had a couple of sacks. And then came and made some big plays to keep some of those drives going. Talk about that. And also, that you mentioned the one turnover, the interception. Was that a play where the receiver maybe should have come back for a little bit for the ball?
Yeah, the last question about that, that's the thing that even the receiver that saw it on film, it's just when you run hook routes, you got to come back for the ball. You come back for the ball, it's probably 1st and 10, Raging Cajuns. And when you don't come back for the ball, and that's something that Gabe does a million times in a row. He's been one of our most consistent wide receivers this year, but that wasn't the one play doesn't change the game. There were a lot of plays, but that's one obviously we'd have loved to have back. And then what was your other question?
Just Brooke making those
big
plays.
Brooks, I thought Brooks at times really played well. He showed some playmaking ability when he scrambled, found Jamal down the sideline. That's the type of playmaker that we need at quarterback. And I thought that was a huge step forward for him to have the confidence to extend the play, find a receiver, and take a shot, and try to get the ball to some of our playmakers. And that's sort of what we've been missing this year at the quarterback position. Not just cookie cutter, drop back, go through progression and throw it, or hand the ball off. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the country who do that. If you look at the great teams, they've got quarterbacks that extend plays, get the ball to their playmakers, make some things happen on their own, create, and that's what he did on that play. And he showed he's got the ability to do that. But I thought he threw the deep ball as well as he's thrown all year. If he'd have got those other 4 balls caught, he would have had an unbelievable night, and this outcome probably would have been different. And so I thought he played really well.
Coach, when it comes to addressing the missed tackles, how hard is it to work on your hitting while still trying to stay healthy and everything like that?
Well, that's a fine line, but we're going to continue tackling at practice, continue hitting, even though we're thin. You've got to tackle in order to tackle in games, and the key to tackling is getting more people to the ball, and the more people you get to the football, the easier it is to tackle. It's called, one guy don't tackle him, at least he's holding him up to the rest of the posse gets there. And so that's the key, is getting a lot of people to the ball. And, but you can see on film, most of the missed tackles were because players were going for the strip attempt and not for the tackle. And they were really trying to get across what I challenged them to do, was to create turnovers. But at the end, we took it out of context, and we're not going for the tackle, we're going for the strip or trying to punch the ball out. And give South Alabama credit, they did a great job taking care of the football.
One guy who was tackling was Taboris Lee. What's been the key to his?
Well, Taboris Lee right now is by far our most productive D lineman. Not only, and we called him out in our team meeting yesterday, on our punt save team, he held up the center the whole way, did his job. On field goal block, he's splitting the A gap, almost gets a block every time. The guy is all in. The guy only has one speed. And if some other guys would play at that type of speed, we could really be outstanding, because he is a difference maker right now, and he's doing it by willpower. He's just willing himself to make tackles. Outstanding player. Well, I'm glad we got him for the future, because he's going to be a really good player moving forward.
Have you guys officially made a decision on Simeon Thomas?
Yes, right now we're not planning on playing him. Yep.
Was,
We're planning on redshirting him, so they have 2 more years.
was that decision made a little bit tougher by the fact that you need to win 2 out of these last 3 to go to a bowl game?
No, because, here's the thing, where do you put him? Where do you play him? We might could play him as safety, but who do you put on the bench? Simeon? I mean, you put Savion, it'd be hard to take him off the field. Troy McCullum, it'd be hard to take him off the field. Here's a guy that hadn't played all year long, who's probably rusty as a barn nail. And you got 2 guys that have been playing 70 snaps a game. So I don't know where he would fit right now. Not to say he's not going to be a great player for us. And we're going to put our best 4 on the field in the future, and he will factor into our defense in a big way. But those other 2 kids have earned their stripes and have shown that they're going to, our secondary right now on the corner positions have really lived up to my expectations these last 6 weeks.
How good was it to see Savion Brown come with that interception that they've been going after him all night?
You know what? A lot of times the boundary corner, it's all the action. And boy, I'll tell you, they came after him all night long, kept coming up with some big plays, and just give him credit. Even if he do make a play, he puts it behind him and plays the next play, and that's the sign of a great player. You don't worry about the play that just happened. Play the next play. And that guy is just getting better by leaps and bounds.
Back to the safeties that you're referencing. What do you got to do to get that taken care of beyond the health issue?
Well, one is, it'd be nice to have them there. Tracy didn't get to make the trip. Tracy Walker, starting safety, didn't make the trip. And we just, all year long have played musical chairs in the secondary, especially at the safety position. And Dom Jones is swung from the nickel to the corner to the safety, and give that kid credit. And boy, I'm glad we've got him on our team, because without him, I don't know where we'd be, because he's the only guy that can play all 3 and can get you out of a game. It's tough when you can't just settle down into a position with the same guys. And, we've got some Travis Crawford until this year. Has not played an awful lot. He's a guy that's giving you a great effort, but just still a young, inexperienced sophomore. And then Dom Jones, is who's been, somewhat of a career backup, that's played a lot, but he's never had a chance. Hadn't been fair to him, because we move him every week, and he got moved to safety last week when we found out Tracy wasn't going to be able to play. So that's why the corner position has been so much better than the safety position, because of just moving people around and people just not getting to just settle in and get better at that position.
Will you get Worthy back for the stretch run, or is he?
No, we'll get Worthy back and Tracy back also. But right now, TJ's not playing probably at the level we need him to play back there at the safety position. He's doing some good things, but just got to be a little more consistent.
If you could come up with a reason for those missed opportunities you were referencing earlier, what do you think that would be?
Well, when I see a missed opportunity, I see a deep ball, Gage wide open behind the corner, there, or 2 balls. And the one they challenged, I really didn't think they'd overturn it. The second ball that we dropped, I really thought that he got underneath it from the viewpoint. I didn't think they had enough evidence to overturn it. I didn't see it on the TV copy like you guys may have saw it, but from the copy or I saw, I didn't know if they would overturn it. But, you know, you miss an opportunity right there to score on a deep pass. Those are big opportunities. You miss an opportunity in the red zone to score. We get down to the 19-yard line. We have a false start. It backs us up to the 24. Then we take a sack from out 11 out to the 36. Huge opportunity right there. That was that could have been the difference in the game. We're down in the red zone and we come away and we punt it with 2 lost plays in a row. Those are just things you can't do on the road against good football teams, and lesson learned. But you know, beyond all that, we still overcame it and took the lead and had opportunity to win it, and then still had a penalty on the last drive that sort of set us back. And so we're not efficient enough right now to overcome those type of penalties and those type of drops and some execution things that we're lacking to beat good teams.
Coach, what is your opinion on the 5-day turnaround, playing a 5-day turnaround? If the NCAA is really concerned about finding ways to make the game safer, moving the kickoff, stuff like that, then 5-day turnaround is not going to be something that's going to be good for a player's long-term health. What is your opinion on that?
Well, I think as long as you don't, have a lot of them, 5-day turnaround's pretty quick, especially for kids that play 70 snaps. A middle linebacker just played 70 snaps and went in there and beat his body up. A 5-day turnaround's pretty quick, but it's doable. You just don't want to live in those. That's why I like the Tuesday ones better, because you have 9 days to get ready for the Tuesday, and then you have 13 days to get ready for the next game. The Tuesdays are much better on the kids, except for class miss. When you play on the road, you miss Monday, you play on Tuesday, you miss all day Tuesday, and then if you get in at 3 or 4 in the morning, yeah, you can say, hey, you better have your butt to class at 8 o'clock in the morning, but that's easier said than done. I don't know if that's fair to the student athletes also. The class time is, to me, one of the main concerns also with the midweek games.
Jamal Robinson said he didn't want to act like he was coaching, but when asked about Elijah McGuire facing all the stacked boxes, he maybe suggested some action in the slot. Is that something you would look into for Elijah?
Well, we've got to get the ball. They did a great job up front, but we were really limited for what we could do with some new guys in there. We played Jesse, we played Goodacre, and it was just tough sledding with some young pups in there. And if it's going to be like that, we're going to have to move Elijah around, maybe on the perimeter to get him the ball a little bit more. But the thing about it, on the perimeter, we got 2 pretty good slots in Gary Haynes and Al Rouse. And so to move him out there, you're taking the ball away from 2 really good inside slots that play the position all the time. And so, you got to weigh that. Is it worth just putting him out there for one play? And when you put him out there just for one play, everybody knows it's coming to him. If you leave him out there all the time, so they don't know it's coming to him, well, then you've taken off Al Rouse and Gary Haynes off the field to do that too. And so it's it's a little easier said than done when trying to figure out how to get him the ball on perimeter. You put him out there, leave him out there all the time, but who are you going to have in the backfield carrying the ball, and then who are you going to take off the field at wideout? So we're still trying to find ways to move the ball. We are going to tweak a couple things, and as we continue to try to get our best ways we feel like to score points, I think we're averaging less than 20 points the last 3 games. I think we scored 18 points this game offensively, and that's just not enough in college football. That's just not. If we were averaging, we've averaged almost 35 points a game the last 4 years. If we were even just averaging 30 a game or 29 a game, we probably would be sitting here 6-4 or 6-3, and be a total different story. But averaging 18 points a game, you're just not going to be a lot of people. People score points these days, and 18 points, that's not going to get many of them doing that. Luckily, our defense has scored a couple of touchdowns for us.
You talked about defense. Is that where New Mexico State's made the biggest improvement from what you've seen so far?
They're sound on defense. They've got an active defensive line. I think they've got some good corners. The linebackers a tough physical run to the ball, and they've improved. Now, I think offensively, they can put some points up. They've scored some points this year, and to win games, you got to score points, and that's the thing that's got us so stumped right now, because we have been able to score points here at the last 4 years, and just with the new quarterbacks and new offensive line, it just hadn't made it quite that easy, and we're getting better. but he hadn't come quite as fast as we would have liked, but we're gonna get there, no doubt about it.
Is it maybe a case of wear and tear for Eli? Because that was the big question, if we could handle the load. Have you noticed any maybe fatigue over the year just because of?
Well, one
mileage?
thing, Eli didn't practice a snap last week. He sat out the whole week, didn't practice in order just to play on Thursday night. And so, he's probably not 100%, to be fair to him. He's not at the level he would like to play at, and you can tell he's not the same right now. I'm hoping, though, with a little extra rest time now, he can get closer to that again. And because when he's 100%, you don't have to block all 11 of them perfectly. He'll handle a couple on his own. But we hadn't had an opportunity to do that because probably of his health, but hopefully it's going to get better.
Conversely, with New Mexico State, their running back, what stands out to you about him on film for him to go 200 for a couple of
Yeah,
games
I mean, the guy can hit a seam. He's I think a very strong runner too, and he's got a burst, and I just think he's an excellent running back. I mean, he's one of the best backs in the conference right now, and so we're going to have some, a challenge with these guys. They're a much improved team, and think about it, they've got a little taste of winning. They got a little blood in the water, and I'm sure, man, they're really feeling much better about themselves. Anytime you win, you do, and so we're going to face a very fired up team when they come in here. We'll have to match that. But our team, I'll tell you this, they're practicing their butts off. They're playing hard for us, and when you got a team that does that, I mean, you always have a chance, and that's why we know that we're just right around the edge from hopefully having a breakout game offensively where we can get in some rhythm and score some points like we've done in the past.
Last one.
How do you feel the two quarterback system went?
Well, it looked like it went pretty good early. The first drive of the game, it went like clockwork. We go down and score, and you're thinking, wow, here we go. It looked pretty good. We threw the ball, and Jalen ran the ball, and we got down there in the red zone and finished it off. But as the game wore along, they started taking away the quarterback run game and making us hand it off every time on the options, and we didn't get enough push up front to really spring Eli, and that took Jalen out of some of his game. And they were forcing us to throw the ball, and they was giving us the pass. We was able to throw the ball pretty effectively against those guys. Even, if we'd had some drops, it would have been way more. If it hadn't had the drops, it would have been way more effective. So it just got into a game where the passing game was just wide open, and so we stuck with that because it was working more. But I thought at times it worked well. All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach?